my Mercenary Maker fans and followers. Lee here from Mercenary Makes, obviously. And in the last video, I actually showed you how to create this from this, just using some EVA foam and a heat gun and some contact adhesive. And today, in this video, I'm going to show you how to detail this and embellish it so it looks a lot less plain. And we're going to do that by using masking tape. So if you haven't seen step one and you want to build along, I'll leave a link in the description below and you can go ahead and watch the video, and we'll all wait for you while you go and do that right now. Done it? Go and do it! Go and watch the video. Okay, so you're back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our masking tape and we're going to, obviously as we want it as a symmetrical design, we're going to follow the seam line down the centre as closely as possible. Don't worry if your tape's too short, just use more tape. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to take lots of small bits of tape and we want to cover the entire surface of the shoulder pauldron like this. So I'll go do this, you go and get a cup of tea, I'll be back in a little minute. Okay, so as you can see, I've covered the whole of this half in masking tape. There we go. And what this allows us to do is to draw our designs that we want on the pauldron in situ. So we can look at all the shapes of the pauldron and we can accentuate bits, and we can just basically draw and design whatever we like and match the shape of the pauldron underneath. So I'm going to draw some designs and then I'll be right back. Right, so I've drawn my design on. It's quite simple, it's not very over the top. I didn't want to make it too crazy. And what we're going to do now is we're going to peel this tape off, stick it to a piece of plain paper, and then we can cut out all the shapes that we need, transfer that across to foam of different thicknesses, and yeah, then get that glued onto the main pauldron. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a little bit of an issue because we stuck the tape to a curved surface. Now, it doesn't want to go flat again, but it's quite easily solvable. All we need to do is just put a little relief cut, like this, into the tape, and we should find it sticks down quite flat. Obviously, as this is only a template, when we cut it out we can neaten up any edges before we stick it onto the main pauldron. So I'm just going to cut a few of these shapes out and then I will be right back. Right, so those are all cut out. I just used a pair of scissors to cut them out. And obviously, as you can see, there's multiple shapes in a couple of these pieces. So we've got these two with extra details on top, and we'll add those later on. But what we want to do first is to get the bigger base pieces cut out of some, I've got some craft foam. We've got all our templates cut out. We're going to transfer some of them to 5mm craft foam, some out of that, to this get that stuck on, and then work on the added details. So This one I'm going to cut out of the 5mm craft foam, and the other ones, these ones, I'm just going to cut out of the normal 2mm stuff. Okay, so those two are cut out now, and what we want to do is, well, obviously from my design, your design may be different, I'm going to stick those actually onto this edge here, where the circle is that we've already built up. And to do this, I'm not going to use contact adhesive, I'm just going to use hot glue to stick these on. And I've got this amazing hot glue pen. So we're just going to put a layer of hot glue on the back and just stick it on. Okay, so we're just going to put a thin layer, well not a thin layer, but a small bead of glue all the way around. Obviously you don't want to put too much on, otherwise it'll squeeze out the sides and then you'll have to clean all that up. And I'm just going to take it, line it up on the edges and just press it into place. And there we go. That's one accent almost done. So as you can see from this template, I also drew a few more little shapes that I want to cut out and add on to it, and I'm going to do that out of the 2mm craft foam. So we're just going to break this template down now into the next stage, ready to cut out of the foam and layer it up. Okay, in part one of this video, I showed you this example that is covered in googly eyes, and I said in that video that I would tell you what the googly eyes are all about. So now it's time to discuss googly eyes. Oh, it's stuck to my eyelids. So on this one, I've actually used them as rivets. Obviously they don't look like rivets now, they look like googly eyes, but once it's painted, You can actually make them look like rivets, which is amazing because they're cheap. I mean, these ones I've used we got from Poundland for £1, and there's like hundreds in there, so like for £1 each. They're amazing to use in your craft projects and cheap. And for these ones, I'm actually going to use them for accents on top of my circles, which oddly enough makes them look even more like eyes. And we're going to stick them on just to have a little domed, just to accent, just to break up the design a little bit. So I'm going to stick those on with some hot glue. Get off me. Problem with hot glue. Okay. And you may be asking yourself how I got these perfect circles. Well, they're not perfect, they're a little bit rough around the edges. But I actually used a circle cutter, which I've done a review for on our Facebook page. That's Merc Makes. I'll put a link in the description for you. This was only £2, and you can sharpen the blade with a sharpener to get your cuts cleaner, and it's a really effective. Obviously with a little bit of practice they'll get better and better, but I really like this tool. I mean, normally to make circles I would just grab the nearest circular item, draw around that, and then struggle to cut it out with a craft knife. But I mean, as you can see, it's got measurements on it, so you can, you know, just get the radius and the diameters of the circle that you want, and it goes up to 30 centimeters, so you can do some pretty big circles with it, really. So it's a really useful tool to have in your arsenal, so you may want to consider getting one of those. It's from the Works in the UK. You can go to the website, theworks.co.uk, to order one if you can't get to a store. So yeah, it's a really great tool. So I'm going to take these circles and I'm going to add these onto the edge of our existing accents that we've got with a little bead of hot glue. Just like that. And then we're going to take our little domed accent, put some hot glue on the back of that. Now we're going to find the middle. Stick that in the middle like that. So as you can see, you get the flat edges and then you get the domed edge of the googly eye, which we're going to say is a rivet or a button of some sort. So I've got another one of those to stick on. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so that's all stuck on now, but as you can see, if you look around the edge here, it's really rough, and that's the problem. Well, one of the problems with foam is that when you cut it, it leaves little burrs. So I've picked up these sanding sticks. You can check out the review on Mercenary Makes at Facebook. And I'm just going to use it to get in here and get rid of the worst of it. Just like that. Right the way around, and then I'm going to get the heat gun and close up the foam cells with a little bit of heat. Being careful not to melt our googly eye. And there you go. You got a nice neat edge now on your foam. It looks really cool. Okay, so I'm just going to get on now and glue the rest of the little details on, cut out the rest of the little embellishments because you've seen enough of that, and I'll join you when the rest of it's all stuck together. Okay, so I'm back. I've glued on the rest of my pieces, and this is my final design. If you remember from the template before, I actually had this piece as well, but I decided that I didn't like it, which is perfectly fine because it's your design. You can create whatever you like, and I just felt like it was getting too cluttered, and I quite like the simplicity of this. So all that's left to do is to add a few final touches. Now I'm lucky enough to have one of these, which is a gas powered soldering iron and hot knife. So I'm just going to heat this up, and then I'm going to burn in some details using this nozzle to make some fake rivets going inwards to have a little bit more depth instead of just packing stuff on top. Okay, so this has been on for 35-40 seconds now, and it's already getting really hot. Now what you don't want to do is leave it switched on and spewing out hot air while you actually press it into the foam, because if you do that it will just disintegrate the foam, which you may, it might be an effect that you're after, but for this I just want the tip really hot. I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm just going to take my foam and then I'm just going to press it into the foam, and as you can see from that, it leaves a nice little... Okay, so I've had a little practice on some scrap foam, and now we're going to take the hot end of our heat tool and we're just going to press it in wherever we want it to look like there's rivets. Yeah. So I'm just going to carry on around the armour, around the shoulder pauldron, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've added all the little rivety details that I wanted to add, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I wanted to leave it as clean as possible because it's a futuristic looking piece of armour. Although it's got nods to medieval armour, I still wanted to keep it looking as futuristic as possible. And I'm really pleased with it, really pleased. So that's it guys, really. You can do anything with these shoulder pauldrons. If you want to add battle damage and weathering, you can do that. Just get a knife or a hot knife or some sandpaper and just rough up any edges you want to look battle damaged. You can add bullet holes to it. You can do anything you want to do. But really, this is the basics of building a shoulder pauldron from EVA foam. If you want more help, you want more information, you can always get in touch through Facebook. There's a link in the description below. And also, if you want to come and say hello, I will be at the UK Games Expo at the Birmingham NEC from the 2nd to the 4th of June. So just come, stop by, say hi. If you want to ask questions, then ask questions. I'm always happy to help anyone that needs help getting started in making costumes, or wants any advice in cutting foam, or anything that you guys want to know. So I'm Lee from Mercery Makes. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.